From the studios of Foxborough Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Around Foxborough at Foxborough Cable Access. My name is Julia. I'm your host. Today we have a great guest. His name is Travis Johnson. Travis, welcome to Foxborough Cable Access Around Foxborough.
Hey, thanks, Jerry. Glad to be here. How are you today?
Good, thank you for asking. So, Travis, let's get right into it. Please tell our audience who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Travis Johnson. I host the NonProfit Architect podcast, helping you build a stronger nonprofit. We also have the NonProfit Podcast Network, the Veteran Podcast Network, and I get to host the first annual Veteran Podcast Awards. Learn more about that at veteranpodcastawards.com.
Great. So, besides doing the podcast, you have extensive career before that. Would you please tell us?
Sure thing. I'm still active duty Navy. I've got nearly 21 years of military services, 12 years enlisted, got a free degree, went to flight school, and now I'm coming up on 10 years commissioned service.
Great. And then where are you based?
I'm based in Tinker Air Force Base, just outside Oklahoma City.
Great. So we have wonderful guests from all over the states. The Zoom interview is really great. And then Travis and I met through our mutual friend, Fativa, and I was on your show for NonProfit to talk about nonprofit. So how long has the show been so far? How many years?
It's coming up on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in September, but we've had a fantastic array of guests, everyone from nonprofit leaders, business leaders, consultants, authors, and people with the special skills to help nonprofits do it better, whether that's leadership, communication, or what have you. And we have over 100 recorded, but we're published like number 84, number 85, something like that. But we've had a lot of success with it, been ranked number 4 in the US, and just having a great time helping the helpers do it better.
Great. So Travis, how can people find your website, podcast? Would you please tell us?
Absolutely. You can go to nonprofitarchitect.org to find all of the things I've mentioned so far. And if you look at Nonprofit Architect Podcast, I'm like on 50 stinking channels. I would be shocked if you find one that I'm not on. If you find one, let me know, please, so I can get added to it. But any social media, Nonprofit Architect. In fact, if you go on Facebook and type in Nonprofit Architect and then you hit people, I'll be the only thing that pops up. So you'll see my bright, smiling face right on there.
Great. So mainly that when I was on your show, like you focus on the nonprofit work, not only from the founder's perspective, but the business perspective as well, to add some value to the nonprofit. Now, how did you come up with this idea of specifically targeting niche of the nonprofit world?
Well, I had a lot of help growing up. The quick stats of my story are 36 moves, 12 schools, 6 states, 5 foster homes, and surviving 2 murder attempts before graduating high school at 17. And even though it sounds like a really sad story, it's like going to the gym. Every time you rip those muscles apart, you get a little bit stronger. So fortunately, I was able to gain the strength I needed to get out of that terrible situation. But there was always some person, some nonprofit, some group, some church willing to help keep us sheltered, clothed, and fed. And now that I'm no longer in that place of scarcity or survival mode, I view it as my opportunity to really help the helpers. And did some nonprofit work around Oklahoma City, was on the board of 2 nonprofits, helped raise $500,000 in a couple of years. And I got stationed over in the Kingdom of Bahrain, this little funky island looking shaped thing behind me here. And someone's like, well, why don't you start a podcast? And I started looking around and I didn't find at the time any how-to episodes for nonprofits. There was highlight shows and talking about the industry, but not really an in-depth guide of how to get things done and how to get fully funded. And now we teach how to get fully funded without ever holding another fundraiser, without ever doing another capital campaign, without ever writing another grant. If that's something that you're interested in, please give me a shout, nonprofitarchitect@gmail.com.
Wow, you went through so fast of your university and then growing up past. And, people who don't know, Travis is a fighter and he's so accomplished. But despite all these challenges in the early childhood, it's unbelievable that you went through 5 foster families, you said? And
Yep,
then
5 foster families.
two you nearly died a couple of times.
Yeah. Two family members tried to kill me. So that's always an interesting story.
It's really crazy. And then, do you remember specific nonprofit that may have helped you, or not really? Just like people around you help.
Well, there was a lot. There was a lot of different churches. There was social services that came along and helped us. There was Big Brother, Big Sister, and the community youth program around Fergus Falls, Minnesota, that really spent a lot of time helping us out and trying to keep our eyes on the brighter and positive side. And there's such a lot of good people around the country, inside and outside of the nonprofit world. And nonprofit is just one of those formalized processes that allows people to get extra benefits for helping out. And I really appreciate nonprofits and what they do.
That's really incredible. And then, as a former founder and president of nonprofit, I really appreciate the platform that specifically focus on the nonprofit. What do you think your reward of hosting these nonprofit shows? Maybe your feedback. Some people's thank you for hosting. What are the feedbacks that you're getting?
I've got nothing but positive feedback the whole time going through it. People are like, I can't believe you're having these conversations. And then well, believe it, it's happening. Well, I can't believe other people aren't having these conversations. How do I actually set this up? How do I do this? How do I connect with my donors? How do I work my board? How do I do the actual stinking paperwork to get this thing up and going? How do I get funded? How do people do this without support? What does this look like? And every conversation I have, I make it a great new friend. I get to build my base knowledge, increase my credibility, my authority. And then, the big secret of being the host is you get to learn and ask these masters all the cool behind the scenes tricks without having to buy their $30,000 course. So I've had Asha Curran on, who's the host of Giving Tuesday. That episode's not yet live, but they brought in $2.47 billion December 1st of 2020. I just got the pleasure of interviewing Steve Sims, the author of Bluefishing, The Art of Getting Things Done. He's a newly minted American, even though he's been in the U.S. for over 20 years. Fantastic guy, phenomenal point of view. And he's done events from anything you can possibly imagine. He's done Elton John's Oscar party. He's done nonprofit events. He's even booked out the Vatican City and got Andrea Bocelli to sing and serenade at a private dinner. So amazing perspective for him. And then here on Wednesday, I'll get to interview Bob Berg, who is the author of the Go-Giver series. So I'm very much looking forward to talking to Bob and getting his insights on what this looks like to be a go-giver.
That's incredible. How do you attract this high credential guests?
I just ask. I put out good work. I've got great friendships, great relationships. And I reach out and I said, hey, I love what you're doing. I love what you're putting together. I've seen you all on my friend shows. I'd love to interview you for my show and get you access to a whole new audience. And they say, absolutely, let's do it. Let's set it up.
And I know you have some book about the podcast.
Yeah, I do have the ultimate podcasting guide, again, available on the website, nonprofitarchitect.org. Well, like a year and a half ago, I bought a marketing guide, one of these ebooks, and I got it, and I was really disappointed. And that's what any good entrepreneur does, right? They find something they're disappointing and they make it better. And I went through all the reasons why I think someone should start a nonprofit, or a podcast. I've got a separate special guide that covers that same section for free. Go get the free copy. Free 99 is the code. Get the free, all the reasons I think you should start your own podcast. But it shows you how to set it up, how to work through this thing, how to decide what kind of show to have, how often to publish. Should I pay for editing? Should I do it live and do it for free and keep it cheap? And you can do all these things. I've got a huge section dedicated to marketing, dedicated to building online relationships, how to be a great podcast guest, how to find fantastic podcast guests, and how to monetize your guest appearances on someone else's show. And then we've got a dozen or so ways on how to monetize. And then the end of it has the templates. How do I do this? What does this email look like? How do I send an email to someone that I'm not familiar with? How do I set up a Calendly link? What's the how-to steps of how to set up Headliner, which is a great preview application that's free. And then you have these cool things that you can publish on your social media and get people to share those. But this thing is 47 pages, jam-packed, won't leave a bad Taste in Your Mouth Ultimate Podcast Guide. And there's been such good interest from it that we have a company right now developing that into a college level course. It's going through the accreditation process, will be available in universities around the country by the end of the year. So very excited about that coming forward, having a lot of fun with it.
That's amazing. And you mentioned that somebody offered you to maybe teach the course as well?
Well, the universities are going to teach it themselves. They have their own professors, their own departments. People working in the entrepreneurship, business, or marketing departments are going to be the folks teaching this thing. So I've just got another source of revenue coming here in the books, and really excited to get that up and rolling.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So have you ever imagined yourself being at this level when you started a podcast?
Well, definitely not when I started the podcast, but it's amazing how that mindset shifts over time. Because growing up in the situation I was in, I remember never thinking I would own a house, never own a car, never get married, let alone have any kind of career or a life of significance. And once you can get past that mindset and understand that the situation you're in may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility to get healing from that and to grow and take action. You're in control of your own life. I'm in control of my life. And when I found that out for myself, I was 16. I moved out of my mom's house. I said, I'm moving in with grandma. And if you love me, you're not going to say anything about it. And she knew that I needed to be gone. I needed to be out of that situation. And I made 3 great choices. I followed the Lord. I joined the Navy and married my wife. And here on Wednesday, we'll be celebrating our 20-year wedding anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about the life of being in the Navy.
The Navy is wonderful in so many ways because they don't care about your background. They don't care how many times you move. They don't care as long as you make the requirements. They don't care about your prison time. They don't care about any of that stuff. As long as you're willing to show up, ready to do the job, willing to work, great attitude, and you follow the Navy's core values, you can do whatever you want. I was so thankful for the opportunity to join the Navy because it allowed me to build the life that I wanted to live. It let me be in charge of my own destiny, so to speak, and have the processes and procedures in place to make it a level playing field. Military service is not for everybody, but it was really what I needed in order to get away from the bad situation, from the bad reputation, from the poor grades, and from the criminal record. And it worked out great for me.
That's amazing. And then you said you got flight license too?
Yeah. After I got commissioned, I went down to flight school and learned how to fly on the T6 Texan, which is an amazing aircraft. And then I got to fly the E6B Mercury. Now, I'm not a pilot. I work on the mission, so I'm far behind the flight deck, but still getting the mission done, having a great time with the crew, and delivering what the Navy needs us to deliver on each and every day.
Wow. So your career from being in the Navy and then doing the podcast right now, and then writing this, book, and then getting into the colleges. Have you ever imagined this?
There was wasn't too long ago, I couldn't see anything like this. And when you set your sights on these higher goals, when you start investing in yourself, when you start doing the things you can do, you start vibrating at a higher frequency. Your mind set shifts, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful place to be. I know who I hang around. I know who I'm designed to be around. Anyone that's got a scarcity mindset, need not apply. You got to be full of abundance. You got to be taking responsibility for your actions. You got to be doing the right things and making the right connections. And before you know it, you will be off on your way to whatever the wildest dreams you've ever imagined or have yet to imagine.
Great. So for your podcast, how often do you publish the episode?
Every single Friday, we have a preview of the upcoming Tuesday. So today is Monday. Tomorrow, we will have a brand new episode with the CEO of Operation Fantasy Support out of Killeen, Texas, right outside of Fort Hood, with their founder and CEO, Nick Valentine. And they do a phenomenal job of everything that they do down in Killeen. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of the work that he's doing. I couldn't be happier to release that episode coming up tomorrow.
That's wonderful. So when you are interviewing people, do you do extensive research about their nonprofit and their work or background?
The most of the things I do a pre-interview. I get to know them in a casual setting and we talk about, and I take notes while they're not really paying attention that I'm taking notes. And then when it comes to the interview time, we have all the things that we need to talk about and share with the audience to provide the right amount of value. If they've got a book, we usually try to promote the book. They send me a read ahead copy so I have something intelligent to talk about. When I get some of the different guests that have a lot of public information out, that have like Steve Sims, he's got interview after interview after interview available about him. I go and listen to a few of these things. I want to understand, where they're coming from, what they've already been asked, and what they have yet to be asked. And then I ask my audience, like, "Hey, I've got this interview coming up. What do you want to know from the man himself? Like, what do you want us to ask?" And I went out to my group, and one of the questions that popped up for Steve Sims was, "What event did you create that had the most powerful impact on you as a person?" And he only does events for millionaires and billionaires. They want to have these world-class experiences. And it's just so wonderful. And there's been a guy that he's been doing events for his anniversary for a few years. And it was the Big 20. And he's like, "Well, what can we do?" And he's like, "Let's recreate your first date, whatever that looked like." And he was outside of the college classroom with the boombox. He had the picnic set up. He had the blanket. He had everything. And when Steve helped him recreate this, it had a really big impact on his heart and everything that he was doing. He knew he lost a client because he would never be able to top this, but he created the perfect event for those two individuals, and it had a really big impact on them.
Wow, great. So hosting these nonprofit, I'm sure you gained some knowledge. Have you ever thought about starting your own?
I've thought about it a few times. When someone considers starting a nonprofit, there's some things to consider. Is the thing that I want to do the thing that's needed? That's the first big question. Is someone in my area already doing what it is that I'm doing? If they are, then you can go and connect with them and see where you can pitch in and help, and you can start making an impact today, because you don't have to start your own nonprofit in order to make an impact. And why would you double up on the work and split the income if someone else is already doing it? Now, they might not be doing exactly what you want to do, but they might be serving the people that you wish to serve. And maybe they can create a program that's in line with what you want to do in order to help. Because no one signs up for nonprofit works because, man, I really want to spend all my time fundraising and doing paperwork. They don't want to do that. They want to impact a certain part of the community. So why wait to start a nonprofit? Find where you can plug in the day and help make that impact right now.
Yes, absolutely. So can you mention again, what are the two nonprofit in Oklahoma that you're serving as a board?
Well, this was a few years ago. I'm not currently serving on any boards, but I did help Books by Vets and their founder, Shannon Whittington. They've got a couple of books on Amazon, Walk with Warriors, which has me featured in one of the chapters, and Resilient Warriors, which is 22 female veterans sharing their story. And then still in operation, though I am not on their board, is the Shine Foundation, Start Helping Impacted Neighborhoods Everywhere. They're doing a great job cleaning up Oklahoma City, trash, graffiti, alleys that are overgrown. They're doing a great job, and I'm really proud of all the work that they're still doing.
Great. So I know you have ton of knowledge about the nonprofit, interviewing all these wonderful people. What are the maybe top 5 advice for people who are currently running nonprofit organization?
That's a great question. Top 5 things that we can do to help do it better. First and foremost, you have got to be open to new ideas. So many nonprofits are stuck in 60-year-old mentality where you've got to do a gala and a community event. You've got to send out mailers, and you have to go through this fundraising cycle that really is just painful. And they think that any other idea is just not what charity or philanthropy is meant to be. And we've got to get past that. There's new technologies, there's new people, there's new types of givers that want to get involved in different ways. And the old ways work, but they just take up so much time. What we do is generate monthly recurring donations. So if your operating budget is 10 grand a month, we figure out ways to get you $1,000 a month recurring. And then next month we do it again and do it again. So in 10 months from now, all $10,000 is coming in automatically without you having to do anything. Now you can focus all of your time on making that impact, building those really solid relationships. Stop having fundraisers, start having friend raisers. Let the community know what you're doing and have a great time. And if you want to keep fundraising, you can do it to scale, to bring on new staff, to add new programs, but you're not going from $10,000 on the 30th to the first hits over and you're at zero again and you got to figure out how to get it back up to 10. Stop doing that. Please, please, please stop doing that. It is just hard on yourself. There's a reason the turnover rate in nonprofits are so high, because there's just so much to do, which brings to my second point is people don't spend time training and learning how to do these things better. I'm not the only show out there. I definitely am a fan of my show. Please listen to my show. That's why we started the Nonprofit Podcast Network, also on nonprofitarchitect.org. We've got a dozen shows. You're going to find someone that you're going to resonate with, that's going to speak to you, that's going to help give you the clarity you need to move forward. But don't just not learn how to do this. It's not just do. You have to learn. You have to take time off. You have to re-engage. You have to build new things. And you can't do that if you don't have new information. Number 3, if you are running this thing and you're part-time, your number one goal should figure out how you can do it full-time. And some people are like, well, I shouldn't take a paycheck. Get the should out of here. You keep saying that you're going to should your pants. Don't do that. Figure out what it takes, whether it's monthly recurring donations like I'm talking about, to get rid of your full-time job and make your vision, your dream, the full-time job, so you can dedicate all of your energy to it. All the great stuff you're doing now at 10 hours a week, imagine if you were doing 50 hours a week, focused on your goals, your dream, your vision. What kind of impact could you make then? Make it so you're collecting a paycheck so you can do this full-time and really make the impact that you want to do. Was that 3 of them? Do I got to come up with 2 more, or am I good at 3?
I think 3 is great too. And then yeah, maybe if you have any resources, website that maybe nonprofit can go, or do you have something that you can share, or it's on your website maybe?
It's all on the website. If you got questions, right? We've got the Facebook group, nonprofit, or facebook.com/group/nonprofit architect. Hop in our community, ask questions, connect with me directly. Be like, Travis, I don't know how to do the thing. And let the group come together and share with you their struggles, what they went through, how they can help you, and check it out. Here it is. There's tons of files on there. There's tons of free resources. On the podcast itself, I think about half the shows, maybe a little bit less than half right now, they have free PDFs and guides talking about exactly how to do it. Go listen to my interview with Preston Cohn, where he talks about how to get the Google Ad Grant, and that's $10,000 in free advertising from Google to you to help people find your nonprofit. You want to get this money built up and small micro donations? Listen to my episode with Stephen Kuhn, where he has 3 nonprofits, each making $200,000 a month. It's all automated, and he teaches you how to do it. Learn how to partner with industry and provide them real value other than just putting their logo on your flyer or your whatever. Listen to my interview with Isaac Belden, where he talks about how to change credit card processing to put more money back in the business account and have them fund through the processor donations each and every month back to your nonprofit. And once it's set up, it runs and just keeps coming to your account month after month after month after month. We did this with the Shine Foundation. We partnered with a junior college, and every stack of books, every sweatshirt for a dad, every football ticket sold, and every hot dog bought, a portion of every one of those transactions goes right back into the foundation. So you don't have to go around begging for money. The money's going to be there. Say no to more work and yes to more money, please.
That's wonderful. Yes, always fundraising, nonprofit is a struggle, but the way that you explained it, and then how the founder or the president should be getting paychecks and then being full-time.
Absolutely.
That's really how I actually struggled myself too. So I wish I had you as an advisor when I was running a nonprofit, because when it comes to nonprofit, people don't think it's more like a business, but it's actually a business. But maybe they're more focused on volunteerism part, and then helping other people. But then they end up not helping themselves and then burning themselves. And then that I've seen that myself as well, and other people too. They just like run out.
They run themselves ragged. They feel like if they're doing the hard nonprofit work, that they should feel pain while they're doing it. It's not required. And then they feel like they have to do it alone. Also not required. We've got these people out there killing themselves trying to make this difference and trying to make this impact for no benefit of themselves. I'm not saying you should do it to get a benefit, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't do it. You've got nothing to pour out. You've got nothing to put into it. You're drained. It's unsustainable. And you're like, well, I just can't do it. Cool. Are you shutting down your doors in 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months because you're already wore out? And until you get some kind of relief where you're not working a full-time job at 40, 50, 60 hours, and you're able to put it into this. And then when you go home at the end of the day, you actually have some of you left for your family. That's what's going to sustain you. These processes getting in place are going to sustain you. Getting you off the phone for 30 hours a week because you're trying to connect with people to get funds coming in, right? Say yes to yourself. Be nice to yourself first. Think about you a little bit to make sure you're in a place where you can continue to give for 5, 10, 15, 30 years or more, not where you're just trying to get it by the scrape of your teeth each and every week, wondering every month why you're back down to zero and you've got to figure out another 10 grand. Stop the cycle of hurting yourself. Please take care of you so you can take care of the other people. They need you to be good.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Travis, for coming to Around Foxborough today. And then his podcast again is called NonProfit Architect. So thank you for our audience for watching Around Foxborough. My name is Julia. I'm your host. Our website is fcatv.org. We have Paul Beck as our director and Michael Weber as our executive director. You can go to our website and click on Video on Demand and click on Around Foxborough to watch another episode. Thank you very much again, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.